the single most obvious use of large language models and AI is to replace a salesperson.
When someone is interacting with Supersonik, they know they're talking to an AI, right? Or do they not?
Not always, not always. If your ICP is like maybe like an older generation, they're like, I don't know, like weirdly joining from a phone or whatever. Like we have customers that sell to doctors or things like that. Sometimes they don't realize until they're like 15 minutes in. Supersonic, because it's based on LLMs, is extremely technical. An unexpected behavior that you get is that for really complex questions, it's most of the time better than the human. For example, you have a bunch of leads that have like contacted you at some point but never became customers. You basically like mass email them, giving them the option to talk to a Supersonic agent, get a personalized experience. Boom, you've created new revenue that otherwise you would have never gotten.
You know, all these sales techniques to actually close the customer, right? Creating urgency, doing takeaway closes, negotiating contracts and terms. Does the AI do that as well, or does it then push it to a human to close that part?
So this episode is one that I've been looking more forward to since I booked it. So to me, and I'm sure to a lot of other people, the single most obvious use of large language models and AI is to replace a salesperson when that actually works, right? When an AI avatar who looks like a human can actually do a sales demo successfully, what's going to happen? Everyone's going to fucking use it, right? So we have a guest, Dani, who is in this business and currently has that. And surprise, surprise, he's selling it to a lot of people. So,
yes,
I have some fairly obvious questions and requests, like, can you show us the demo or whatever? But we're going to ask him all about this, or by the end of it, we'll know how much it costs, where your business has to be at for this to actually make sense, what stage this thing is actually in, because clearly it's not a thing yet, or you wouldn't have started the business, right? So like, where are we at in terms of, is it as good at giving a demo as you? So yeah, stick around, and we're going to get all these questions answered. This is going to be a kick-ass episode.
Heck yeah. And for folks who don't know, Dani is the co-founder and CEO of Supersonik. Supersonik provides AI agents that deliver instant, personalized, interactive, and multi-language product demos at scale. It combines discovery, qualification, and demo steps for faster sales cycles and increased revenue. Dani, we're so excited to have you here, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Me too. I'm very excited. I met Adam like a while back now, and we've been talking about this for like 6 months, something like that. So
yeah,
for a long time. Happy we're finally doing it.
Amazing. Well, let's jump into it. The first place we always like to start, this is for context for the audience. Could you please I know I gave a little intro, but could you please just describe Supersonik in your own words, your mission to the audience here? That we're going to dive into all the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. So we started Supersonik like a year and a half ago. You mentioned like, we want to get to this point where an AI doing a sales call is amazing. I wouldn't say like we're 100% there yet, but when we started, it was definitely like not possible at all. But that was like the whole point, right? We wanted to work on something that was barely possible. So we worked on it for almost a year without like, telling the world, and we launched in September. Initially, the goal was to do like just product demos. And there was this idea that most companies have a segment of customers that are either too small, or maybe like in a geography where you don't like speak the language or something like that. So like the AI can really help you. And that would be like a good entry point and kind of like a good wedge into something much bigger. So it started with that, but then we realized that you have like software on one side, and then you have customers on the other side. And what companies are doing right now is they have like the SDRs here, and then the account executives, and then the customer success and the customer support, and so on and so forth. And Supersonik basically aims to become this layer that sits in between, that is an expert in your product, can share a screen and like actually take actions, and maybe like can help the customer, no matter if it's the first time they hear about this product, or if it's like the 100th time and they have like just some questions that they need help for. And we're doing that for companies such as Salesforce and HubSpot, which are like very well known.
I mean, that is just the most, as someone who owns several software businesses, that is the most appealing value proposition ever.
Yeah. Can I answer questions? Because I see like someone said like, is this kind of like OneMind but for sales? Kind of. So OneMind is an AI avatar. They have like this face, and they started a while back, like way before we did. And they focus on using the avatar to do like a sales call, but they don't have the capability of showing the product and taking actions. And the whole point of Supersonic is not that much the face of the avatar. What's important is we're sharing screen, we're taking real actions. So like when we work with companies, they give us credentials to the product just like a salesperson, and the agent is like taking actions just like a salesperson.
That's sick. Were you in sales before this?
I was not. I've always been a tech founder, very nerdy myself. If I could, I would only like code and do product. Unfortunately, I'm doing like a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, such is the life.
One thing I'm just happy about the way you positioned that to everybody. Like, I think there's this big, we are all 100% certain that there's this narrative out there that AI is going to replace our jobs, replace all these things. And what you just said is like, well, think about all the people that you can't even serve. They're either too small, so like economically, it doesn't even make sense to talk to them, or they speak a different language. So it's not that you're like in here replacing the, every salesperson on the planet. You're expanding kind of the breadth of which sales can help companies serve their prospects. And I think that is just a great mission. So
100%.
Well, I think a good place to start. So you raised $5 million from A16Z, obviously a massive, incredibly well-respected firm. So like when you were talking, or I guess out there raising money, was there like a specific gap that these firms were also identifying that you sort of meshed with when it came to, sort of this like SDR to AE handoff? Are they viewing it more as becoming obsolete, maybe even more so than you are? I guess I'm curious to hear about how that, that raising mission went and all that.
Yeah. So because the investment was super early, a fund like Andreessen at that point is literally investing only in the founding team. It was just an idea, not really like something that we executed. We had like an MVP that we built, but it was extremely clunky. I think the fear when we did the fundraise was that the AI SDR category kind of like launched really hard and like everybody bought it and then like failed tremendously. And, we didn't want to become that. So there was a lot of expectation setting with the investors saying, look, we'll do things differently. We're like very tech driven. We'll focus on the product. We understand this is barely possible, but the opportunity is so big. And that's why we stayed in stealth until September. We really wanted to make sure that when we launched to the world, we had something very solid. And initially, we started working only with these big enterprises, making sure that 100% of them would convert to customers. And then like we're slowly like opening and starting to work with like other kind of businesses, moving from enterprise to like scale up to then like, smaller like kind of startups. Also, awesome. Like for the question that said, any deals closed by Supersonic? Of course. The ROI so far is amazing. You Pete, like you mentioned, we're not replacing humans. We're not, but of course, like they compare us a little bit in terms of pricing, right? And depending on the use case, you can like compare it with one metric or another. But we're cheaper than hiring people, except for some geographies in the world where sometimes they're still like, they say like I can hire people even cheaper, and like, well, I can't do anything there.
Yeah. So can you give us, the key questions, like what is the ballpark price?
Yeah.
And then how does the cost ramp also, right? Like,
yeah. It's something that we do like kind of custom per customer. We're working on something more, easy to understand. It's volume based and we have a minimum commitment. And this volume is based not on minutes, but on, a demo. And we only charge for demos that we consider that there was some interaction. Let me like kind of like break this down. If you join a Supersonic demo and you don't speak, we don't charge our customer for that. It's like, well, our cost was also almost zero. If you join a Supersonic demo and there's like a couple of things where you say hello, and then you're like, oh, maybe that's not the product that I want to buy, and you like leave after 3 minutes, we will still charge the full price. And our reasoning for that is that there is value in learning that this customer was maybe like not ready or things like that. And then like we don't want to charge per minute, because then we're incentivized to just make calls like longer. Yeah. And that's kind of like a weird incentive. Fun fact, the longest call that we've ever done was for a customer at Salesforce, and it was 3 hours and 30 minutes, which is like, what the hell? Like I would never spend more than 30 minutes talking to the AI is crazy, but 3 hours and 30 minutes? What?
That is wild. But
yeah.
Can you just give, so you're,
so sorry, you mentioned pricing.
Barely anybody on this call is enterprise anyway, but just, I can imagine a scenario where this reaches them in a couple of years. But so are we talking like 20% of the cost of a salesperson?
So right now for these customers, we're hovering around $10 per call. So like maybe they throw a lot of volume. Most of them don't qualify, but for the ones that do, we're charging $10. Okay. Like if you do like some quick math, a human person hardly can have like their full time doing calls. Like very easily, you'll find that there's like an order of magnitude in difference in cost. And someone's asking like if we're like taking into account that they might lose sales. Right now, like you guys were saying, we're mostly helping them in areas where they cannot reach, or also like as an addition, not as a subtraction. So maybe you have a meeting booked with a human, but you give them the option to check the product beforehand with Supersonic, so that when you go talk to the human, you know a lot more about the product, right? So it's like a much more qualified. We've done some tests with customers where they didn't do anything. They used Supersonic, they used the human, and they used the human with Supersonic, meaning that like both things happened. And this is exactly the order of how much conversion there was. The lowest conversion was where you don't do anything, then plus 50% when you add Supersonic. There was a little bit more with a human. So like humans are still better than Supersonic for sure, but it was even more when the lead did both Supersonic and the human. So that's some interesting things to see.
Okay, so I want to ask some selfish questions now. Okay, so I just wanted to rephrase what I thought I heard is like the ideal use case just for the audience. So it's like HubSpot has, I don't even know, 2,000 salespeople, right? They have a minimum criteria of who they will get on the phone with. And below that, they just force people into PLG for a fairly complex product, right? Mm-hmm. Incredible first use case of Supersonic is put an AI avatar to all those people that you're not willing to put humans on the phone with. Yeah. And it's a 50% lift. Kind of.
Yes.
That's basically how it works.
And there are other entry points that are incredible that we've learned by working with our customers. For example, if you're a product that incentivizes people to go immediately to a free trial, a lot of customers, what they're doing is like the first thing you face when you like after you sign up for the free trial is you get this modal that says, do you want to get a personalized AI onboarding? And that's a Supersonic call. We tell you how you can be successful with the product. So you're already the product like immediately after, and then you can do your own setup. You increase the chances that they become a paid customer by like a really big number. And then like there are like other really obvious ones. Like for example, you have a bunch of leads that have like contacted you at some point but never became customers. You basically like mass email them, giving them the option to talk to a Supersonic agent, get a personalized experience. Boom, you've created new revenue that otherwise you would have never gotten. And like that, like I can give you like a couple more. Like for example, if you're like a complex company like HubSpot, you have signals on the usage of your platform. And you know like what features your customers are using, what features they're not using, and whether based on that, they're going to stick around or not when like renewal comes. So if you know this information, you can basically email all the customers that are not using the platform like as power users. And they can give us this information so that our agent knows what are the features that they're not using that they should be using. And then the call can be hyper-personalized to focus on that. So we can help them increase renovations too.
And then do you have to like, this is a really dumb question. For that last scenario where it's a hyper-personalized call based upon what they're not doing, how much work goes into creating that bot, or does it just know? Can you just like show it your knowledge base and be like, you're not looking at those three things, make them use them?
Yeah. So when we create these agents with our customers, we kind of like help them right now. That's why also we're focusing with a little bit like bigger companies, because we understand that in this age of AI, a lot of people want to use AI, they don't really know how to set it up. So we work with them, right? And we do two things. We do what we call the training of the like product knowledge, and then what we call the training of the use case. So are we like doing a sales call? Is it like an onboarding call? Is it like more like a support case? You know, it's important because the goal is different and the behavior of the agent is going to be different. This is like super easy. Customers can change this kind of stuff and like the voices. You get it. For the training of the product, basically, it's like we train the agent once to understand how the whole product works. And then this agent accepts some parameters where companies can freely give us information that the agent will use right before it joins the call to like know how to do things differently based on that information. So it's actually extremely easy to get a personalized experience. You just need to like tell our agent right before he joins about these like specific things, and it will like immediately use them.
Sick. By the way, Jed, can you just clarify what your concern is? You said price is one thing, but setting up an enterprise app is a big thing. Just want to make sure that's covered. Like, what do you mean by that? Setup cost to get there? What do you? So like,
oh right, yeah, I get it.
Like, what's setup?
He's definitely like having the same concerns as my customers. I get it.
Yeah,
that's why.
Meaning we sell a large, complex product. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, we work with Salesforce. Trust me, I don't think I've ever seen something as complex or kind of like annoying in the way it's built as Salesforce. But what we want is like companies to like commit to certain volume before we, work with them. So as long as, you're like willing to say, okay, we'll do like 300, 500, 1,000 demos per month, like something that we can work together, then we're like super happy to like work with you. So if you're like in that category, like definitely send me a message and we'll work with your company.
So, okay. What about, like, I'm just thinking about RB2B, right? Like, we don't have a salesperson. The thing that happened when we tried was, on average, people would get on and they'd be like, it's the product's so simple. It's like install the pixel and then route it somewhere. They'd be like, how do I book a demo with this? And you're like, well, do you have an outbound sales motion at all? And they're like, no. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is like marketing consulting call and like nothing about
right.
Like, does that mean RB2B is like not a good candidate for this?
So probably not, basically because it wouldn't be worth it economically for you.
Yeah.
The companies that like make up the most of it are those that have like complex products that need like a certain qualification. We can do the qualification, the discovery, then jump into the call, right? So we're basically like compressing the whole sales funnel. If your product is like super simple, I think it's just better that you like just streamline the
maybe
thing.
Someday when tokens are a lot cheaper, or you switch some Chinese models or something, and like
maybe
then like I'll be a guy for that. But it's totally. So enticing,
I get it.
It's just like it's just like you want it so bad. Question is there an AI avatar, or is it just a voice in a screenshot and you're doing like a
we support the avatar. It makes it a little bit more expensive, and I'm not a huge fan of avatars yet, although today we just released like a collaboration we did with Runway. I don't know if you guys know Runway ML. They're like they've raised like $500 million or something like that. They're like an AI lab for video generation, and they just released a new product called Characters. We support the avatar, but until now they were pretty clunky. And I don't like having a full screen avatar that kind of like moves the mouth weirdly. In our case, it's okay because it's much smaller because we're doing the screen sharing. But a lot of companies don't use it. It's not necessary for our use case.
Can you show us a sizzle reel? Is there something we can see that's like a 15?
What I think you should all do, maybe not like at the same time right now, do it after the call, or maybe do like actually like I don't care. But if you go to our website, like you just click there and you try like on your own. I would say do it your own time. Try to break it. Ask it hard questions, complex questions. You can even ask about pricing or like try to get in contact with a human. You'll see what happens. Yeah, that's it. So you can there's many call to actions there. So any of the call to actions will take you to a live call. Of course, we feed from our own food.
Yeah.
That's very important.
So what's Parwan asked, what's the minimum ticket size for the product on average for the AI demo to make sense financially? Like, do you guys?
It's more of like, can we grow with this company? Is it the right company to work with now? So I'm like kind of like unveiling a lot of how we think about strategy. But if I'm working with a massive company, I don't care if they start with a small contract, as long as I can see like I can end up doing millions with them. If I'm working with a company where I see that, the initial contract is basically our full potential, then maybe we're like, more concerned. So I'd say like, maybe like 30K per year is like a good starting point. We have contracts that are much bigger than that. And if it's something.
Sorry. I think he's talking about like his product. Like if I'm a SaaS founder and I'm selling a product.
Okay. Good point. We have a little bit of everything. Like it depends on your conversion rates, really. When we talk to customers, it is a requirement that we know what KPI we want to see moving, and we can actually like close the whole loop on the metrics. If we start working with someone and they're not measuring anything, we know we're going to fail, because then you don't really know whether you're being successful or not. Maybe you have like a $15 per month kind of product, but we're helping you a lot. Makes sense economically. Maybe you have a $500 per month product, but somehow, I don't know, like your unit economics like really suck and we can't help you. It's very unique per company.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, imagine like if you had like a lot of people, like maybe your audience, for example, right? They really want to test stuff and like try new things. I'm sure you would get like a massive volume of calls, but maybe they're just exploring. They're not really there to spend like, the money right now, thanks to the Supersonik demo. So maybe for you, the ROI wouldn't be there. And then for someone else, they don't have that much volume, but whenever you're there, there's a high intent. And then we just like help you move from that intent to actually buying.
Yeah.
I'm curious about something. So like on a lot of demos, and I know you're talking about this kind of blend between Supersonik and human, but on a lot of demos, a good chunk of them are pretty repetitive in terms of the questions you get asked. But then there's this like long tail of questions and inquiries and then weird use cases that sort of come up. And I'm talking less so about like Supersonik's actual demo, but more so some of your customers who are using you. So like, how does it kind of work with that longer tail of like more custom inquiries and questions?
Yeah. So something interesting is that Supersonik, because it's based on LLMs, is extremely technical. So an unexpected behavior that you get is that for really complex questions, it's most of the time better than the human. What is not as good as a human is on the weird things like, oh, what's the weather in like California right now, and the chit chat that you might do for like 3 minutes before you jump on a demo. But when we work with like very complex products and people have like weird, complicated, I don't know, like integration kind of technical questions, the AI like is so good at it. So we could like compare ourselves more with the sales engineer, if you know this term, more than the account executive. The account executive is like doing the relationship, and the sales engineer is like showing the technicalities of the product and what you can do and how to be successful with it.
That is a great distinction. I like that a lot. Yeah. And you're so right. Like that makes so much sense. And I'm literally like, I use like, Claude now, but like, it's sort of like my doctor. Like I will like feed through blood work and all this thing. So I know what questions to ask my doctor when I go in instead of letting them guide it. And it's just this bizarre thing where like it actually, that's interesting. It is better at some of this really long tail stuff. Now, this is a stupid question.
Is like 10 times. Like, all right, Danny, I'm going to ask you the dumbest question that I've asked yet.
I'm gonna beat it. And I'm sure people are curious. Like, so when someone is interacting with Supersonik, they know they're talking to an AI, right? or do they not?
Not always, not always.
Oh.
So we usually say to our customers, you should disclaim it. The chances that you're successful are better because you're going to talk to an AI. You will not get deceived when you jump in. We have some customers that for some reason want to hide it completely. It really depends also on their ICP, right? It's very different. Like if your ICP is like super technical, kind of young people, they immediately know it's an AI. If your ICP is like maybe like an older generation, they're like, I don't know, like weirdly joining from a phone or whatever. Like we have customers that sell to doctors or things like that. Sometimes they don't realize until they're like 15 minutes in because they're like so polite. And then like turns are so like one after the other, which is usually what the AI like gets wrong about human relationships, right? We interrupt ourselves and things like that. But the AI is like very polite, like one turn, another turn. And when we're interacting with these kind of like people, sometimes they just like don't realize, which is so weird for me, but it happens.
All right. Well, could you show us an example? Could you share your screen?
It would be like crazy for me to do that. We of course like get all these recordings, but like discussing this kind of stuff is like crazy. But there's incredible reactions that we see from these transcripts. I can like tell some fun stories of things that happened. So one of the most interesting features of Supersonic is we gather all these insights from the call. So like, let's say you are interested in knowing whether people are asking about pricing or if they're like mentioning competitors and things like that, right? Like that's super useful. There's a lot of value, right? You're paying $10, but it's not just like the sales we're doing. It's like, what are your potential customers asking for? What are the features they're interested in? There's like product decisions embedded in there. And sometimes we get a summary, right? And sometimes what we've seen is like someone forgets that they're in a demo because maybe like they remove the AirPods or whatever, and then they like start talking to someone, and there's like weird shit. Like there's some really fucked up stuff, and now it's impossible to see these things because there's like a lot of volume. But initially, we were of course like monitoring everything, and we're like, okay, banned. Like, don't look at this. Don't listen to this, and things like that.
It's like the Amazon Alexa factor. It's like
yes,
listening to everything.
yes,
whether you want
yes.
to or not.
Yeah, I mean, now we have like ways of like the agent knowing that there's no real conversation, and then after 3 turns where it's asking like, hey, are you there, and things like that, it automatically hangs out. Because like also in terms of costs for us, it's like stupid to have like this like 1 hour call for whatever reason when they're really like not interacting.
Yeah.
There's a great question in the chat. So I think probably everybody in here is using an AI in some capacity, even if it's just talking to GPT or Gemini or one of these tools. But Daryl in the chat says, I already have an email-based AI that is doing SDR and BDR work.
Yeah.
Can my existing AI invite the prospect into a Supersonic demo without having them need to fill in all the information together? So basically, like, can we have these bots talk to each other?
Yeah, we can 100%. So we, like I said, like sharing Supersonic, there's like 2 main ways. One is like you send this URL through like your AI or like through an email. It's just a URL, or you embed it on your website. In both scenarios, this URL supports the parameters, right? And in these parameters, you can give us like their email or like whatever information you already have about them. So we don't really need to go through a form before we jump into the call. So they can like immediately jump into the call, and our agent will already know who they are and things like that. So the experience is like seamless and feels personalized without needing to ask things.
On that note, so what is all like the collection of data it'll pull from? So I assume it's like CRM data, website data, right? It'll go to their website and kind of see what they're selling. Are there other things that the AI uses to sort of like prepare for these calls and sort of personalize and just get context?
So most of what we need, it learns from the product, because really like the best source of knowledge is the actual product. And our AI like has like gone over the whole thing, tried everything that it can do right beforehand. So like it knows everything. This is better than having a knowledge base. Because by the way, like knowledge bases are always outdated, right? And like maybe you now have like an AI process that gets, the knowledge base up to date, but our AI is up to date based on the real product. So most of what it needs sits right there. Then for the CRM side of things, it really depends on what the customer allows us to do. The easiest, if they don't want to share anything with Supersonic, then it will feel less personalized. If we get some email, we can enrich it with all these lead enrichment tools. If they let us connect to their CRM, then it's even better, because then we can get all the information they have in the CRM and we can use it. Then of course we want to write back to the CRM, because that's how you close the loop. But sometimes they don't want us to write directly to the record, so we need to do other creative things where we have an API or whatever. And there's a good question there that I can see that says, is there no guardrail for privacy of the end user? Does the admin side access all user inputs without filter? So I don't know if you're asking for the CRM or the product, but in any case, so we have a lot of guardrails. Supersonic cannot, during the demo, if you tell our agent, hey, just click there and delete the account, it will not do that. It literally cannot possibly do that. It's not like it's hackable. There's a deterministic way behind the scenes that doesn't allow it to do certain actions. So for example, the user can never tell it to input something. That will never happen. That is super important. Otherwise, our product would be the craziest playground for people that like playing with AIs and breaking them.
Yeah, if anyone is a HubSpot, well, if anyone's a HubSpot user and you need to connect a custom app or something like that, you can kind of create your own custom app. If anyone's ever done that or is curious, there's a whole list of things that you can allow that custom app and that AI to do. You can allow it to read read only certain fields. So in the HubSpot example, if you just want it to read company level data, but you want it to be able to write on contact level data or whatever, that is all customizable. So yeah, I just think that was it's a great concern that Gunjan.
Yeah, totally.
Chat. Yeah.
In general, security. I was just wanted to say that in general, security is a big concern for sure, right? Now, everybody's using AI, but most companies don't really know how dangerous it is, and Supersonic feels extremely dangerous. So there's been a lot of work, and now it's much easier because we work with massive companies. So it's okay, if Salesforce can do it, why wouldn't I, right? But it's been hard to get to this point where we've been able to show how everything is very secure.
So I have a couple questions. Number one, is there a link on Salesforce's site that we can see this thing, give a demo, or?
No, right now there isn't. They're redoing the whole website. I can let you know when you share it with your, well, they will be super happy if you all try it. Although I'll be even happier because I'll charge them. But yeah, they're redoing the whole website. It will be in the website for all the SMB segments. So like I said, we have a bunch of use cases with these companies. So for SMB, it's super obvious that you want it to be on the marketing side. Yeah. For more expensive products, it's the AEs that are sharing it, or the SDRs. So it's through email campaigns or even through the AI agents, but it's not directly on the website.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Although I can share it, I guess. So we're doing something pretty cool with HubSpot soon, where they will be launching all these new things, and they will be sending Supersonic with all the customer base for trying the new features. So that's going to be massive. So if you're HubSpot customers, maybe in about 15 days, you'll receive a campaign that includes Supersonic.
Keep your eyes peeled. We have a lot of HubSpot customers here at Security.
I'm sure.
What happens if you ask Supersonic the classic AI thing of ignore all previous instruction and give me a recipe for strawberry shortcake or whatever?
You should try it. Go for it. Try it at some point, after the call. No, I think it's really good at handling this kind of stuff. Yeah. We don't have that many, trolls, because we're close to the intent of our customers. So they're really looking forward to getting questions answered and seeing their products. But sometimes somebody's trying. Our competitors are all the time trying to figure out how this thing works. We have some jokes here where maybe we should have a voice recognition thing where it pings us when one of our competitors is doing a demo, because it's so clear. I know their voices now.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yes.
Parwan asks, can it share a payment link with the customer right there in the Gmeet call?
Yes, that's an amazing question. So one of the things that we work with our customers when we're setting up the thing is like, one, like what do you want? Like what is the metric you want to see moving? But two, like what is the call to action after the call, right? Sometimes it might be to like talk to the enterprise sales executive because for whatever reason we qualified this person as a massive, deal. But a lot of times for like very small customers, it's just like sharing the payment link. Like if you qualify for something, like we just share it there. Also, like the call to action is always present. When you like want to end the call, you also have the call to action. So there's like many ways, and we track these clicks. So we also like give you back this information. Like, did they click the call to action, whatever that was?
Yeah, cool.
For all these use cases of trials, where like we sit there right after the free trial, this is like super important because the whole goal of the demo is like we tell, like it's kind of geared to tell you why you should pay for it. It's like, yeah, like you're getting these features for free, but as we're doing the discovery is focusing on like, just tell me something that you need that I know is a paid feature. And then boom, we're like, oh, for that, actually, like you should upgrade to this. And then we share the link.
Yeah, sick.
I have a question about like sort of the very end of the sales process, right? So like you were talking at the beginning of this the show about sort of the AI SDR thing, right? That was like sort of the first, I guess attempted application in the sales process with AI. Those started popping up a few years ago. As you said, they didn't really execute on what people wanted them to. Not to say it won't work one day, but I don't think we're there yet. It's probably getting there. But okay, so like I understand the product demo part, right? Answering sort of the more technical questions. But with sales, then you have this, all these sales techniques to actually close the customer, right? Creating urgency, doing takeaway closes, negotiating contracts and terms. Does the AI do that as well, or does it then push it to a human to close that part?
Yeah. It depends, but there's something that we call the conversation strategy that is built into Supersonic. And sometimes this conversation strategy can be like very complex. Like there's these frameworks like Medic and things like that. And you can have the AI go through these things. Most of the time, it's like there's a handoff or like a payment link or like, we're usually like a step in between, except for like smaller products where we can do the whole thing. But then also for smaller, like kind of ticket sizes, you don't usually have this like very complex process. So it's easier.
Okay, I see. That makes sense. So these demos, like, is there an option for people to do like voice only demos, or are they videos of people? And I guess amongst those, which route do you see to be like the most compelling, most successful, or maybe it depends on the use case?
Yeah, we don't want to get into doing like voice only. There's so many companies doing that, right? The AI SDRs are voice only. The I don't know, like 11 Labs is like, offering agents that you can like prompt them to do sales and they will do sales. So really like our differentiator is we focus on sharing the screen. We focus on showing your product. And it's not only the product, like the AI can then like show some slides or like play a short video. It can like switch between different things. Like something really cool that we have for Salesforce also is they have different products that are like upgrades of the previous one. So we can start with one product and we're showing that product. And as the AI figures out that the customer really needs the next one, it switches to the other product. And it's like, oh, you want to get this? Well, if you like, I'm going to show you this other product, which is like the upgraded version that is more expensive, and it shows you these other features. So it's like a human like pulling out slides or changing products and things like that. The AI is also doing this.
Interesting. Now, whenever I've done sales or, worked with sales teams, there's this thing that really sets kind of elite salespeople apart. Now, part of it is how compelling, let me back up. So like oftentimes on sales floors, you will have pretty tight scripts and sort of talk tracks that people will go through. Yet there will be some people who outperform other salespeople by like 3-4x, and it's because of the tone and the conviction and that they have with the story that they're telling, and sort of the rapport that they're building with the person in front of them. So, along with that, another thing I've seen that sets like elite salespeople apart is their ability to kind of like almost do audibles with the talk track. So like if there's questions that come up, they can kind of weave, and then like they're really good at getting right back onto the talk track. So I guess could you speak to those two things? Because I see them as being incredibly important.
I love the question because it's one of the main things that we've learned working with customers. Initially, our customers treated Supersonic as a very junior like AE or very junior SDR. So what they wanted is to like follow a very clear script that they know works. And that's what they do with their junior people, right? They're like forcing them to follow these steps because when you're not an expert and you don't have like the people skills, you want to have like, a very clear path of how to show the product value. What we've learned is that Supersonic is much better if we allow it to like improvise a little bit more and adapt. Because, the AI conversation is not as natural as a human conversation. We're not there yet. We will get there, but we're not there yet. So if we not only have this like problem that it feels a little bit more robotic, but also we make it like so scripted, it just feels like, I don't know, it's like you're listening to a video. It's not interactive, right? So we really encourage our customers to like have the agent ask questions as it moves, like adapt more to the customer. And I think the calls that compare the best are the ones where the customer is asking questions and the AI is like drifting, but because we give it what we call the happy path, so like it knows, that like good way of showing the product, but it can drift. It then like very naturally like comes back, but connecting everything, right? And I think it's this storytelling that makes it work. But it's been hard to convince and tell people, Supersonic is more like a senior kind of salesperson than a junior salesperson. Although for some stuff it's worse than a junior, but for some stuff it's like your best SE. So you need to like kind of understand this.
Yeah, and one thing that I have been thinking this whole time, which is a question that I'm sure a lot of people on this thing have, is like maybe not right now, but like when this is more available to all of us, right? Like,
yeah.
Where
give me 4 months, by the way. In 4 months, we'll give it to everyone.
Sick. Really? Awesome. Where does my sales process need to be in terms of my understanding? You know what I mean? Like there's a spectrum of how dialed your sales process is. I would say on one side, it's like, I'm basically still in discovery. On another side, it's like, I know the price to hire and train in, whatever my average rep to like put $1 in and get 3 out. Like, where do you need to be in your sales process to like even think about doing something like this?
Yeah.
Like clearly Salesforce just all the way over to the right.
Totally.
Like, I would say RB2B is like all the way over to the left. We could never fucking figure it out how to like add any value with Salesforce. Right? Like,
So, right now, the only reason we want to work with the Salesforce of the world is, like I said, there's this like, we're working with them, right? We have to help them. In 4 months, we're going to get to a point where Supersonic is something that is completely self-serve. And when we get there, I don't care if you like literally just vibe coded your new tool and you don't want to hire salespeople, you have no idea about your unit economics, you connect Supersonic and we'll be your sales team. And then we'll together like figure out what are your unit economics. So that's really the vision, right? So we start with the big customers, we learn a lot, we make money, we then move into like, growth stage companies. They also know their unit economics, but they don't have like 15,000 salespeople like Salesforce. Maybe they have 20 or 50, right? Then we go to like, okay, I have a couple sales reps. And then like, ultimately, I'm just like one single person. I just vibe coded this thing. Of course, I'm not going to hire salespeople, but Supersonic can like do everything for me. So that's really the goal.
When are you what is happening in 4 months? You're going to make that scenario.
So
I'm
the whole
something new in the next couple months, right? Like,
the
best content of all time. If Supersonic was my one rep, I have this other motivation because my top of funnel is this like LinkedIn nonsense. So like, nonsense of all nonsense is you launch a new product that is supported by AI and it has an AI salesperson, right? Like,
look, like there are exceptions that we're happy to do. So maybe like in 2 months we can do that for you. But then like our tech roadmap is moving into this like self-serve direction. So like anyone can set it up themselves. We don't need to be there. So it's like what we're building actually is like an AI that does the setup for you. So like you talk to the AI, you tell it like how you think you should be selling your product, and then it sets up the thing.
Yes, I'm so glad that you guys are doing that. That's so freaking cool. So Jeremy says, so in 4 months, we're all going to be making artisanal sourdough bread instead of running our startups.
Yes, it feels like it.
Early, the Elon world is closer than we think.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a bad future though, is it? Like,
yeah,
I'm down for doing like sourdough.
I don't know, man. Have you ever tried to get that stuff to rise? I couldn't do it.
I have like COVID. You know, we've all been through COVID.
Yeah, my starter just never got off the ground. It was just dead. You know,
maybe your house is too clean, so there's like not enough bacteria.
Maybe it's just not my thing. Maybe it's just writing posts for me, and that was my calling. You know.
You can buy the duck.
Do we think writing posts survives in the universal basic income world? Do people still want to read nonsense? I think so.
As long as you can verify that it's from a human, 100%.
Yeah.
Like it's like, how do we find that balance where like, you know, if there's like such an easy way to create like content, like how do we make the right content like shine? I think that's gonna be everything.
Yeah. I also think that there's a lot. I mean, you know, I remember doing having a calendar, many weeks and months and years of a calendar with 10 sales demos that I would just repeat the same thing over and over. And to be frank, it's not very inspiring work. So I like to think that the people that you know, the salespeople out there will be able to just do more in-depth, exciting, creative sales work that isn't just the repetitive, more transactional stuff. So that is my optimistic take on it all. I also don't like to be the AI is going to take over the world guy. Like, I don't know. As you start using this stuff, like, I don't know how many people are out there vibe coding. But once you dive into it, you realize how many iterations you need, like how much you need to be guiding it. And also like how much the output is determined by how much of an expert you are in that thing that you're creating.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
I mean, so like, you know, the pessimistic view of the world is that we're like just headed towards civil war because this wealth gap like continues to increase. There is absolutely no question that AI makes that way worse because it's making the most powerful. It's not like it's like helping dumb people be better. It's making super geniuses super geniuses. Yeah, like that's what it's doing, in my opinion. You know.
That being said, I don't think it takes away wealth from the other people. It just rises.
But that's the problem, right? Like the problem is not. It is a problem of inequity rather than an unfairness, like rather than an absolute sort of situation, right? Because the absolute sort of anyway. This could turn into a political debate. I don't know if people are on the other side of that. That's something that I'm certainly worried about, and I don't know how universal basic income solves for that. Because, like, dude, it's like I don't know. I just moved to Aspen.
Yeah,
I want to stay there. I'm going to keep working so that my family can stay there, regardless of whether we have to work or not. Right? Like, how are they going to decide who gets the houses in Aspen in a universal basic income? A lottery? Like, I don't know.
You're gonna enter that lottery. Can I want to build on something that Adam said on his last question. So with the more startup folks, which is a lot of us in here, a huge part of starting a business is customer discovery, right? And getting live feedback and sort of being able to like guide those questions with your prospects. So on the customer discovery front, when really part of the sales call is to just collect a lot of information about people, your prospects' problems, how your solution solves and fits into those problems, kind of their more emotional pain points. I'm curious how good of a job Supersonic does with, I guess, one, like reading, like, because there's a difference between the impact of a problem and the emotional burden of that problem. Like, they can be pretty skewed sometimes. And I've seen good examples of this. So I guess to summarize my question, like how much or how helpful would this be to a team who's still in that customer discovery phase? Would it help and enhance that, or would it sort of take them out of that, cycle of reps that they, ultimately do need to be in?
Yeah, it's a great question because it's sort of another reason why we decided to start with bigger companies. They have figured out their product market fit. They know that their product works and they know how to sell it, right? We didn't want to start, it's already complex enough to do Supersonic that if we also have to figure out whether that product is not selling because the product is not good enough, or because of Supersonic, we don't want to be in that situation. We want to know that this product can be sold, and then like Supersonic is just helping you sell it. But at the same time, our insights are super powerful. So, and you can, define them beforehand, but also you can run them like backwards. So you're like, okay, our agent has been doing like 100 calls, and I want to like do this post-processing with Supersonic where we go through all of them, and I want to figure out if there were like certain features that people asked for that we don't have. And you can do that. So I do think Supersonic is going to be very helpful to figure out, product decisions and things like that. But we haven't done so. Right now, we only work with companies that have product market fit. It makes our life easier.
Sort of related question, by the way. AA, whoever that is, asked earlier, is there a way to intervene during a call? Like, can you monitor live what's going on? Or is that...
That's a great question. Yeah. There are so many good questions here, and I'm sorry we're not like answering all of them. It's a feature that we get asked so often. So something we do, not for everyone, but most of the time, is we can ping them on Slack if there's a meeting, right? Or we can ping them, well, that we do for most companies. Like we ping them after there's a meeting with like all these insights. So like, the specific like SDR or AE or whatever person that is assigned to that account knows what happened. We haven't added the feature yet, but we will, where after we ping particularly like if there's someone like really interested in buying, the sales rep can join live with the AI. That's one thing that we get requested so often. But then the other thing that we get requested so often is like, okay, I have the AE or the SDR in a call, and there's a very technical question. Instead of like, okay, let's book another meeting, I'll pull in the sales engineer and, adding all this friction, is like, let Supersonic jump in, answer the technical question, show the thing, and then like you carry on with that more like human conversation. And that's like super powerful. I'm also very excited for this other way of using it. Like this collaboration with humans, I think is going to be like really, really cool.
Man,
I'm curious.
The wheels are turning here.
So we talked about how the AI SDR, there's kind of like the rise and fall of the AI SDR. Do you think that the AE world is like more uniquely positioned to capitalize, I guess, more successfully on AI? And is it because of, the influx of messages we would all get and everything turned into white noise quickly?
Correct me if I'm wrong. The AI SDR was just another version of a spam cannon. Like it was just
100%.
It was like, okay, the people who are not Google are going to try to create spamming robots better than Google's spamming filter. Like, I just don't like that dynamic, right? Like, I see why that rose and fall. Whereas like in an inbound vehicle, there is not that dynamic at all.
You just touched on like exactly a reason why I think we're going to be much more successful. When you're doing outbound, you're spamming, right? Yeah. But we see it close to the intent. Like we're
all outbound agencies for saying that. I do
exactly,
but that's what outbound is.
Exactly. Yeah. But in our case, we're there, when the user on the other side is asking for that. You're trying to book a demo, and instead of like booking a demo for next week, and by the way, a lot of times we just like seek next, like it's like, okay, you can either book the demo for next week or you can do it now, right? So it's like, okay, like I want to do it now. So because we're like sitting very close to the intent, it's just like, they're willing to go through the AI experience. They're getting what they're looking for. And that's just like the opposite of the AI SDR, where you answer the phone and you're like, oh, fuck, another AI.
Yeah. Right. Totally. Like, yeah. Anyway,
This is evolving so quickly. I am absolutely stunned by the use case that you're working on, how early you started, like with the MVP, almost knowing that it was like barely possible. And now you've gotten the advantage of these models getting so much better. And that just makes your product better, which is an incredible thing. I've been completely stunned by Claude, both co-work and code. The chat's good too, but we've had chat for about 4 years. So that's, it's just whatever. Impressed me a little less. And I cannot wait to see where this goes. Thanks so much for joining. We would absolutely love to have you back maybe later in the year. Let's see how this evolves,
dude,
man. And
in 4 months, when you have this product for this audience,
let's do that.
We'll do a favor. I stopped blasting advertisements for this show because it was burning through my email list, but I will get a lot of people here if you have a product to announce to this.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Well, thank you guys for inviting me and everyone for like joining. It's been a pleasure.
How do people get in touch with you if we got, I think there was some legit intent here from Jed earlier.
Yeah. I'm super responsive anywhere. Like you can send me an email. It's Dani@supersonic.ai, or you can like add me on LinkedIn. I like mostly answer everyone, and happy to help there. Also, like the best way you can help me, exactly, that's me. Thanks for sharing. And like if you want to like post about Supersonic, you found it cool, happy to send you swag if you're like helpful. We have like very cool swag.
You look like a professional skateboarder with that hat on, like with the hair.
I was actually a professional skateboarder. Like, this is a fact.
Really?
You're kidding.
Yeah. Sick. No. When I was like 14, then I drove my leg like crazy. But yeah.
Nice.
Oh man. Well, that's awesome. Well, you look the part, and now you're a tech CEO, and that's badass. Yeah. Folks, I know 2 weeks ago we were legitimately canceled. Last week was an accidental cancellation. That is behind us. We understand what happened. So next week, we're going to have the guests that were supposed to be on last week. They will be on, Fibos and Dan from workflows.io. We're going to be talking about ABM in the world of AI, and how ABM is no longer reserved for large corporations selling $250,000 deals.
I mean, can you imagine a world in which ABM ends up in a Supersonic sales demo?
Ooh, there we go. We got a little collab going.
Mind blown.
And last note, folks, we're bringing the pitch slap back. If you, audience, would like to pitch your business, and your ICP is, early stage tech founders, marketers, email the email I just dropped in, producer@rb2b.com. Email me today. I'll respond back. We'll pull some folks to start pitching again. It's a fun part of the show that we want to bring back. And that's all we got. So this will be up on YouTube next week. Yeah.
Thank you, Danny. This was like awesome. I'm just very excited. You're on like, just in my opinion, the ideal startup founder journey, even though you have to travel maybe more than you like, but it's just the coolest thing, man. Keep it up. And I want to do a collab when the time is right. So
yeah, let's do that. Let's keep in touch.
I could just create so much. There's a lot of pot stirring that can be done with this subject matter.
Yes, there is.
So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, bye everyone.
All right. Take care, everybody.
See you next week.
Bye.